from Democrats on this bill and for the ones that will be co-sponsoring the bill. Mr. Chairman, we're in a day and time where my constituents ask me all the time, is there anything that Republicans and Democrats can agree on? Is there something that you can do together that's good for the country? And I tell them all the time, I'll ask them, do you like trees? Do you like healthy forests? And Republican, Democrat, independents alike like healthy forests. They like trees. And there is no downside to a healthy forest. It's a win-win-win. And I tell my constituents and others that if there's anything we should be able to agree on, is to take care of this treasured resource that we have. They ask me all the time, do something where you don't have all the rhetoric. Forestry and healthy forestry is the perfect thing to do that with. We have science that tells us what a healthy forest looks like. Mr. Panetta talked about the forest fire in his district, and I believe it's the same fire, where I also saw a picture of a mountain slide that went into the ocean. And Mr. Neiman, one thing that we've done in this bill is trying to address concerns that we had out of the 114th Congress, was also to look at not just the arbitration, but to look at things to help improve water quality and to be able to address water issues in the West using our forest to manage that. Can you talk briefly about the nexus between good forestry management and protecting our watersheds?
I can step back a little bit, and I go back to the Black Hills. We've got example after example where we've logged in the Black Hills, and the stream flow and the establishment of trout year after year for about a 15-year period was very healthy. Then the forest grew back up, the streams dried up, and you lost your fishing and the clean waters. I'd love to show you some direct examples of those that are just evident, the relationship between selective, proper management and what it does to water quality and stream flow.
I've been reading a lot of articles by groups like the Nature Conservancy that talk about how you can use natural solutions to solve problems, and forestry is a natural solution to solve an issue with water management in many areas. Mr. Furnish, I understand you're opposed to this bill. It's pretty evident as I look at your testimony. It says, speaking bluntly, the bill before you seeks to enact legislation that is an affront to well-entrenched pillars of our democracy and culture as a society blessed with a legacy of stunningly rich public lands. You also go on to say, my experience literally screams that this bill is misguided, unnecessary, ultimately harmful, and just plain wrong, with wrong in all caps. Now, my teenagers tell me, don't ever type in all caps, Dad, because that means you're screaming at someone. This bill breeds mistrust, which to me, this sounds like a lot of rhetoric, the thing we're really trying to avoid here. And we want to base this on the science. You actually said some things in your testimony that I agree with. You talked about how timber production does not have to be the driving force on federal lands, but it does need to be part of the equation. I understand the Sioux forest, if I said that right. That's an old plantation forest. It was planted in the 60s, and we know that sound management tells us that you need to thin plantations. But the question is, will you continue to manage that forest in the future? And I think you stated in your book, that the land told you of its distress. My question to you, what is the land saying now? Is the land not distressed now? Does it not cry out for us to manage it and to implement sound scientific principles on our landscape?
I have 15 seconds to respond. 12 seconds. The Sioux is healthier than it's been in a long, long time. And that's because we've been practicing restoration forestry, not timber exploitation.
Thank you. Mr. Tipton.